Hey everyone! Since I fixed my office and I got a new cam, so I thought why not start doing some IEMT videos on some Q&As that are being thrown around in the IEMT practice group. So here's today's question. Hi everyone, has anyone here worked with a client who is suffering from trauma due to car accident? In my client's case, she was stationed inside her car when another car crashed into her. Not sure how to use linchpin here. She's now left with anxiety, flashbacks, intrusive thoughts, and a phobia of driving. Any suggestions here would be appreciated. So the thing to start with here is not being sure how to use the linchpin. So the linchpin is being thought of as a technique, whereas the linchpin is something that is usually expressed by the client when they say, my life is over, I got stuck at this moment, I'm freezing, I can't move on. And we have also the elements of when some people say, I just want others to understand. I really wish that I can go just before that happened so I can change everything. When people are using these kinds of languaging, this hints that we might have a linchpin over there. So if these hints are already available, we might start sharing stories that we discussed during the trainings, either the practitioner or the advanced practitioner, or stories that you are very familiar with that have the same structure of what the linchpin is, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, what happened before for the person, and for others what happened during, for others and for the person, and what happened after for the others and for the person. And by going through the sequence of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In that sense, by sharing these stories, we then go and ask the client, does this sound familiar, by pointing to the number 6? If they say yes, we just tell the person, just focus on whatever comes up and just follow my finger. And you do the basic K pattern movements on that specific thing that the client gets after you share the linchpin stories, which could be the boat flipping in the Zeebrugge Harbor disaster, or other stories that you are familiar with from the trainings that you got from the trainers that you got. In addition to that, if we move in this conversation that is mentioned in the chat, the person says she's now left with anxiety, flashbacks, intrusive thoughts, and the phobia of driving. So we're gonna dissect these. If she's left with anxiety, this could take us into the 3 pillars model, where we have a differentiation between anxiety, panic, and worry versus guilt, shame, regret, remorse versus anger and temper. So when the client has anxiety, we can draw out the 3 pillars model and we can explain it, which is what happens in these emotions, which are more related to the past, what happens with these emotions in the middle, which are related to the future, and what happens with these emotions that are related to the present. So the idea here is to just map out different possibilities for the client. So maybe her anxiety is because she regrets not doing something. Maybe her anxiety is because she's shameful because some people saw her. Maybe she feels guilty that she left although somebody told her not to leave the house, for example. So this could lead to that. Maybe she's angry at herself because she wasn't very responsive at that specific moment. Maybe she is angry towards the other person, but also at the same time feels guilty, and this loop is just continuing in many different ways. So the idea is, if I have anxiety, anxiety is a result, it's not an emotion on its own. So I can either do the 3 pillars and work on that, or if the person is expressing lots of what ifs, you can go with the what if model, which is what if, then what, and discover if the person needs to learn something to deal with things differently because this is a training issue, or if it's an emotion that they have that's stuck with them that they need to shake. And then you would do, so this feeling that you have, how strong is it, how familiar, when's the first time, and you can do the basic K pattern on that. So it's really very, very contextual on what the client is experiencing. In addition to these, we move to the next part, which is the flashbacks. And this is the easiest part. So the client is saying, I have flashbacks. So you have many flashbacks? Yes. Okay, can you pick one? Yes, okay. How vivid is this flashback? Pretty vivid. Okay, focus on my finger and just do the eye movements because they mention flashbacks and flashbacks are memories. So focus on this flashback and work through the flashbacks that come up for the client. Could be one, could be two, could be 10. It really depends on how many flashbacks this client has. Now, when it comes to intrusive thoughts, is it talking to themselves in a certain way? Is it the tonality? Is it so this intrusive thought, what is it? Is it an image? Is it a self-dialogue? What's the intrusive thought specifically? So if we identify that, okay, when you say intrusive thoughts, what's going on? What's the problem there? I'm afraid I might do blah, blah, blah. Okay, this fear that you have from this intrusive thought, how strong is it on a scale of 1 to 10? And how familiar? You know how this goes. Now the last part, which is phobia of driving. So phobia of driving because what if this happens again? What if I go out and I panic? What's the phobia of driving from? Is it from her actions? Is it from the actions of others? It's definitely combined to these other things that happen. Now the thing to keep specifically in mind is how long after this accident is this client seeking help and change work or therapy, etc. So if it's very soon, all of this change work might not be needed at this moment in time. This person might just need support and care. So they want to listen, be listened to, they want to express what's going on, they want to just let things out. Whereas if this happened 3 months ago, or 6 months ago, or 1 year ago, and they're still stuck in their specific frame of mind, they're still stuck in a specific moment, in that sense, you should figure out, okay, so what do you want? You want to get rid of the phobia of driving? Do you want to reduce the anxiety? Do you want to reduce the intrusive thoughts? Do you want to get rid of the flashbacks? What does the client really want? And once you base it from that and what's happening with them in the here and now and start building up, things become easier. I hope this answers your question. If not, please mention in the comments or ask me anything to clarify more. Take care.